Well, we are changing, we are moving on, and with that change, and like all good organizations do, we also have to not only welcome people, but we have to say goodbye to people. And the individuals who we're just going to recognize tonight have been important to the Jackson Center, very important. And you know who they are, but I won't go too much into their biographies. You know Stan Lundine. Anybody not heard of Stan Lundine? Okay. No. Stan, this time last year actually, got me in a car and drove me out, way out in the field, and said, "How would you like to be the chief?" He goes, "It's not personal." You know, and I'd never really had thought about it. You know, I said, He goes, "No, just think about it," and I did, and I said, "Well, all right." Stan has been a tremendous advisor to me and has been very helpful in my transition in taking over the board. But Stan took over the board in a time when the Jackson Center needed a steady hand. This experienced politician, leader, manager, his quiet sense of humor was just perfect to allow the Jackson Center to stay on an even keel. And I think that's really an important tribute to any human being, but certainly Stan Lundine did that and made himself, and all of us, very proud of him for that. I admired him greatly. I know good leaders when I see them, and certainly Stan is that. So, Stan, if you'll come up here, please, we'd like to give you something.
That's it.
We don't give many of these away, but we give them to people who deserve them. And on behalf of the Board of Directors, on behalf of this wonderful society of friends, we'd like to give you this wonderful portrait of the man himself, Robert Jackson.
Thank you all very much. I have been a fan of Robert Jackson since at least my college days. I actually wrote my senior thesis on Robert Jackson. I've lost it, but I'm sure that it wouldn't challenge John Barrett's knowledge or anything. I agreed to chair the board for 1 year because I felt we were in a time of transition. Greg and many others, supported by many of you, did a phenomenal job in creating this place and taking it through 10 years of success in acquiring and developing this building. We're debt-free as far as this building is concerned, incidentally. But we were at a time, yes, I know we need more money. I'm well aware of that. Nobody else is more aware. But we're in better shape than we were a year ago. So it was a transition time as I saw it. And I'm really pleased that I was able to become more deeply involved. Now I'm staying on the board, watching over this guy and making sure that we stay on the right track. But and Greg is too, incidentally. Jim Johnson is taking over as the CEO, but Greg and I will continue to be involved. And I think it was a very successful transition. We're in more solid shape, but we need to take this to the next level. And we really appreciate all of you are here because you've already contributed to the cause, but we do need to take it even beyond where we've been. There's such a great story here, and we're concentrating tonight and appropriately on Nuremberg and the international justice aspect, but Robert Jackson was also a great Supreme Court justice. I got a kick out of recently, the New York Times analyzed all the judges in the last 60 or 70 years and where they stood on a spectrum of liberal to conservative, and right in the middle was Robert H. Jackson. And you know, I guess that's not important in and of itself, but what was interesting was that Jackson decided cases on their merits. He didn't do it from an ideological standpoint, or he wasn't a part of a camp. And at a time when we've got a court that's so often divided 5-4, it's refreshing to think about a judge that will do that, and particularly at our highest court. But also, he was a guy who took his experience from this community and applied it in incredibly complicated cases and so on. And Felix Frankfurter used to make fun of him and say, "Bob, that's Jamestown justice." And Jackson says, "I take that as a compliment." And that's the way we feel. He was somebody from this area, from this community, who became phenomenal in his importance internationally, but also in his importance on providing justice on the Supreme Court. And in the coming years, I think you'll see that with Jim's leadership and a great board of directors that we have, many of whom are here tonight, all of us have contributed to this cause financially as well as with our time. And I think you'll see that we can achieve even greater success in the future. So thank you. We will find an appropriate place in the Lundine household, Sarah, for Jackson's photograph. But it's a great, great pleasure to not only have been, but continue to be involved in the Robert H. Jackson Center.